the introduction.
Thank you, convener. Hopefully that's the recording started. So good afternoon, everyone. This is a reminder that the meeting is being recorded and will appear on the council's website soon after. So members of the committee should leave their camera on, but switch off their microphones until they wish to speak. Officers should switch their microphones and cameras off until the convener brings you in to speak. And those observing today's proceedings should have their cameras and microphones switched off at all times. If members or officers wish to address the subcommittee, please press the raise your hand icon, which is located on the Teams toolbar, but remember to switch it off after the convener has brought you in. I'll now just take a roll call to identify those in attendance. Councillor Reynolds, convener.
Present.
Councillor Bell.
Present.
Councillor Delaney.
Present.
I don't think Councillor Malik is on the call. No, Councillor Radley.
Present.
Thank you, convener. I'll just hand back to you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Steph. Okay, first item on the agenda is determination of urgent business. Second item, exempt business. There's a report there that is exempt, of course. Declarations of interest. Do we have anyone who wants to declare an interest? No. Okay, thank you. 4.1 is the minute of the previous meeting. Can we agree that that's a true record? Yep. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed. 5.1 Pittodrie capacity application. The operational plan, risk assessment, etc., which is in confidence. And if there are any comments to make on that, we would need to go into confidence to discuss it or to get advice from officers. So if I can bring in Mr. Monroe first of all, Sandy, if you can do the introduction on this for us, please.
Yeah, thanks, convener. So this is obviously, as you'll be aware, circumstances changed. Well, they changed from Monday going forward with regards to the various regulations and guidelines. So this is an application by the club. The third one, we've obviously had two already that we have determined. So whilst the restrictions have largely been lifted, they do still require permission for events over 5,000, which is why this is back before yourselves. You'll see this one is an application for the rest of the season, because obviously it's not feasible on either the club or ourselves to do this every single week for every game that's played at Pittodrie. So the summary of the changes that the club have put forward is obviously the main one is the increased capacity. It's up to 19,672 is what they've asked for. That's actually just shy of the full capacity in terms of the safety certificate in normal circumstances. I think it's 20,000 and something, but it's as close to obviously full capacity as the club feel that is warranted. They have updated their code of conduct and their supporters journey map. They have removed the need for a lateral flow test and evidence of a negative result. The reopening of food kiosks, removal of physical distancing in line with the regulations. Masks are still required indoors, so for their hospitality areas and what have you, but are now optional outdoors, again in line with the change in the regulations. They are retaining photo ID and ticket checks for the track and trace purposes. So that's the summary of the changes in the application. It has been before the Safety Advisory Group, who are happy enough with the application. What they have said was that there was a marked improvement from the first game to the last one that was improved with the increased capacity for the last one. All the issues that were identified in the first game had been perfectly well remedied in the second and did not reoccur. So I think it's fair to say, obviously, some of the officers from the group are on the call, so they will to answer the questions better than me, but it's fair to say that they were impressed with the measures put in place by the club, and the problems that were identified in game one did not reoccur in game two, so that was promising. The short version is in line with the regulations. The group do not feel that there are any grounds to refuse the application. Similarly, public health, whilst they retain concerns over groups of people, because they always will in the current climate, they're of the same opinion that as it stands at the moment, there are no public health reasons for them to object to the application or to refuse the application. So as part of the safety advisory group, they are on board with that as well. Just to put the committees, or just to give you a wee bit of comfort, I guess, even though this is for the remainder of the season, it does not mean if you approve this today, that's it for the rest of the season. Should circumstances change, which leads there to be reasons to revisit this, it can be referred back to yourselves if there are grounds for that. And so if a public health reason did occur, then it could come back to yourselves if it was felt that that was necessary in order to revise the capacity to take account of the amended circumstances. So this is by no means that's it for the rest of the season, regardless of what happens. That's in your powers, that's in the safety advisory group's powers anyway with the safety certificate, and that remains the case. So should there be any reasons, be it public health or be it public safety, then the option remains for that to come back to you at a future date. So that's basically what we're recommending is approval of the application, with the caveat that should circumstances change, then it comes back to yourself for reconsideration in line with the new evidence.
Oh, that's fine, Sandy. Thank you very much for that. Members, any questions at all? No. Are we happy to approve the application? Oh, Mr. Councillor Bell.
Sorry, Convener, I was trying to get to my to the right button. I couldn't. Yes, a couple of questions, please, Convener, if I may. So I've looked in the report for main lessons learnt from the last event, and I noticed that there were things like smokers were found in the Merkland Stadium. That's going to be that was dealt with by stewards, and it'll be managed appropriately now. But I just wonder though what the key takeaways were from the last match, if I could ask that, please. I had two questions.
Okay, the first one, who's going to answer that? Mr. Morrison, is that yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Convener. Yeah, I can confirm we had officers present on site at the last match, and issues were addressed. There were still some problems with smokers. However, they were being dealt with by the stewarding and reminded of the fact that they couldn't smoke there and asked to put out. So that was dealt with. Stewarding levels were good. There was no concerns about queues at points of entry. There were better facilities, there were more staff available, and that ran much more smoothly. So the officers' general findings from throughout the match was that it was well controlled.
Good. And may I please ask, through you, Convener, how did the ticketing work? Because I recall there was an issue with tickets not being correctly issued, and there were some details on the tickets not quite right. Did that had all been ironed out at the last match, had it, Mr. Morrison?
Yes, there were no issues reported with the digital ticketing, which caused problems at the original match. The club had advised that was a one-off due to human error, where someone had cancelled the tickets that had been issued, so they were reissued. And of course, if you'd had the original ticket, it was no longer valid, so they had to be re-downloaded. So that problem did not reoccur at the last match.
Right, and finally, may I please ask about the hospitality? Now, I understand you've got a capacity of 440 in your hospitality suite. I think was there 330 that you had that you were actually looking after last time. Were there any sort of takeaways from that? Any issues with that? And how many do you hope to have in the hospitality suite this time?
Okay, thank you. There were no issues identified at hospitality in the last match. The last application was for 440. They actually had 300 guests within the hospitality, and no issues reported. The application in front of you, I think, asks for 1,200 within the various hospitalities. I don't have the number of it. Unfortunately, my other screen has just gone down. So I couldn't confirm exact numbers, but the hospitality worked smoothly and say there were no issues of concern.
Well, all right, thank you. Because I know that there's a box or two and the other bits and pieces that'll all seat 1,200, will it? That's
It's across a large number of rooms. If you bear with me, I'm just getting my other screen to work now. Unless Andrew Dell, do you have the document to hand?
I have the figures here, Andrew.
Thank you.
It's 1,188 is the figure for the hospitality. That's across boxes and various different lounges within the stadium.
right. Okay, thank you. And you have adequate plans in place for managing all of your guests, I take it.
Yeah, the club have submitted plans that satisfy the legal requirements. There's no longer a physical distancing requirement, which was the big difference for hospitality previously. That has been dropped, and we have no concerns about the plans they've submitted.
Super. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Councillor Delaney.
Yes, just a few words, Convener. As you may recall, I was particularly concerned on safety with regard to the first application right in front of us. That went ahead reasonably successfully, but there were lessons to be learned. I'm pleased to read that a lot of those lessons have been learned, and that things were more positive last time round. Still significant concerns, especially if we're going from about 6,000 right up to 20,000. We want to get there. Is it too soon? Is it not? I don't know. But as simple as this, as Mr. Monroe has said to us, if there are problems, and I fear that with 20,000 and no social distancing, there possibly will be, then it's going to come back to us. I would rather we could say, well, it's too much too soon just now, and I know we can, but we don't have public health or indeed NHS Grampian asking for that. So basically, I just say I've got severe concerns, but unless anyone is minded to move otherwise, I basically have to take comfort from the fact that we'll have to meet again if things go wrong, and I just sincerely hope that they don't, Convener. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I think most of us have the same concerns as you. You know, we're now getting back to normality in the stadium, but there is the comfort there that if there is a problem in the future, it will come back to us. But of course, we've got the professionals in our offices and the police, etc., saying, no, we're happy with this. It should go ahead, but we will definitely bring it back to you if there is a problem. Councillor Radley, please.
Thank you, Convener. It was just a quick question, and it's more just out of interest. Was there a reason behind the fact that they're not doing, not needing proof of negative lateral flow tests? Was there any sort of reasoning given behind that?
Okay, if I can come in there, thank you, Convener. Yeah, the LFD tests, there's no requirement for those to be undertaken. The club suggested dropping them. They did cause delays at entry, and increasing the number of people coming through trying to do LFDs produced the problem of creating the potential for clustering. So it's a double-edged sword, really. It provides some help, but it may cause more problems than delay. So we would have concerns about the ability to deliver LFD tests on a crowd of 20,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Radley. Councillor Delaney, do you want to come in again?
Apologies, Convener, I forgot to put my hand down. Thank you.
All right. No problem at all. Thank you very much indeed. Members, we have the application before us. We have the recommendations from the officers, and of course the comfort there that if there is a problem, it will come back to us. Can we approve the application? Yep.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you very much. In closing, I would actually ask people that do attend the stadium to think about the face masks. I know they don't have to now, as far as the law is concerned, but I would still encourage people to wear the face masks. But we can't put that in as a condition, needless to say. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and very much for your attendance. We'll see you again, hopefully not in the near future though. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Indeed.